Thank you, Madam Speaker. There have been growing climate strikes around the world as young people call for action on climate change. It's been over a year and a half since this government threw down their off-green plan, a remarkable document, not least because the Premier claimed to be working on 76 pages of it when it's only 64 pages long. It would appear he's actually only working on one of those pages, the blank one behind the cover, because when it comes to action, this government has barely moved at all. We were told by experts at committee that the Heritage Trust needed to be 10 times as large to be effective, and this government is actually only investing 1/500th of that amount. When the government was asked about reduction targets for greenhouse gases, they said they're working on it, yet it's been 200 days since their legislation received royal assent, and not a word from the government on how they're actually going to do it. When is this government releasing its greenhouse gas reduction goals as they legislated themselves to do?
The Honourable Minister of Sustainable Development.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I'm very pleased that our Expert Advisory Council has been working very diligently to provide that information that member has asked for, and of course our government is continuing on our initiatives to reduce greenhouse gases in the province of Manitoba in a meaningful way and setting targets that we can achieve, unlike members opposite who set targets and never achieved them. This question coming from a member who supports a rising, escalating carbon tax. No ceiling on that carbon tax is what this member opposite is advocating for. Our government is committed to investing or protecting the environment and protecting the economy.
Order. Order. The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a supplementary question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's worth repeating that the PC Green Plan has no timelines or targets. The Premier stomped his feet, decided to challenge the carbon tax in court, despite knowing full well that he has no case.
That's not true.
His plan, which he appears to have abandoned, relied on a carbon tax for half of its emission reductions, because even his own government knew the best way to reduce emissions is to put a price on pollution, and harming our environment should never be free. Every PC MLA once voted for a carbon price, even higher than what we have right now. Will the Premier stop with the finger pointing and get on with implementing any of the other portions of his half-baked green plan, or is it what we all thought, all talk?
The Honourable Minister of Sustainable Development.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And while this member continues to advocate for an escalating carbon price without any consideration for growing the Manitoba economy, our government is focused on getting results. We are the government that shut down the coal-fired electricity in the province of Manitoba, reducing many carbon emission reductions. We've reduced the fleet of government vehicles in the province of Manitoba to achieve meaningful emissions, and we have also invested and are moving forward to protect Manitoba Hydro so that we can not only continue to achieve those meaningful emissions reductions here in the province of Manitoba, but help other jurisdictions reduce their reliance on coal while reducing their carbon footprint.
Dougald.
The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a final supplementary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Pallister government's decision to tear up their green plan and walk away from the negotiating table in a huff was the opposite of leadership. Manitoba Liberals have made it clear we will take back control with a plan that works for Manitoba, and at a critical juncture on an issue that is critical to the economy of our province, to our country, and to the health of the planet, the Premier abandoned his post. He surrendered control to Ottawa, and we've seen other PC premiers do the same in lockstep. The Pallister government dismantled PowerSmart, which actually saw energy use reductions, and replaced it with a new Crown corporation that has done nothing in the last year and has no staff. They promised organics diversion and an increased biodiesel mandate, which this government appears to have forgotten about. They've promised wetland restoration and electric buses, yet they've cut funding to municipalities and sustainable development. Rather than getting anything done for Manitobans, will the Premier admit his only interest is in getting re-elected?
The Honourable Minister of Sustainable Development.
Madam Speaker, this member has a lot of audacity to talk about carbon emission reductions when, if he wanted to do something of benefit for the Manitoba carbon footprint and reducing our footprint, he would pick up the phone and call his federal cousins who are right now interfering with the Manitoba-Minnesota transmission line. They are interfering with that. ability to take the equivalent of 25,000 cars off the road. Wow. That transmission line has the opportunity to displace very carbon-intense heating and energy sources south of the border. And here we have a Liberal government who is interfering with that and not allowing that project to go through. If he wants to do something for the environment, I suggest he pick up the phone and call Ottawa.